Welcome you all to the course on Gender Studies. This is the 6th episode in this series. Let me tell you the 3 objectives that I have framed for this episode on Gubar and Gilbert'S The Madwoman in the Attic, the woman writer and the 19th century literary imagination. The first objective is to introduce the purpose of this prose work. The second objective is to unfold the difference between angel and monster, as how the writer attribute the terms to female characters. The third and final objective is to educate the students of the importance of feminist literary criticism in the 19th century. This prose work is written in 1979. Susan Gubar and Sandra M. Gilbert published this Madwoman in the Attic, the woman writer in the 19th century imagination, as a hallmark of second wave feminist criticism. The second wave feminist criticism focused on the sexuality and its discourse. So the prose work runs around 700 pages. So it analyzes the 19th century literature. It mainly focuses on the female characters in male-authored novels, which can be characterized as either an angel or a monster. So, the female characters are taken as either angel or monster. So, the two words connotes different ideas. So for an example, angel stands for pure and submissive characters. Monster stands for sensual, rebellious, and uncontrollable characters. As we find in the two terms, angel stands for the desirable qualities and monster stands for the undesirable qualities. So these undesirable qualities are found in a Victorian daughter or mother or wife. And in this book, Gilbert and Gubar discuss the angel and monster binary in the novels written by women, covering the works of Jane Austen, Mary Shelley, George Eliot, Emily Dickinson, and the Bronte sisters as well. In fact, the title Madwoman in the Attic is taken from one of the Bronte sisters' novel called Jane Eyre. It was written by Charlotte Bronte, in which the particular character, Bertha Mason, appears. She is the madwoman, as the title reflects, and she was kept in an attic. Therefore, the title sounds as The Madwoman in the Attic. Why she has become mad, what is wrong with her, and all the rest can be known from the reading of a novel. But to detail in short, there is a huge difference between the protagonist of the novel Jane Eyre and Bertha Mason, the so-called madwoman. Because Jane Eyre is very pure, comfortable, and very submissive character, and having a saneness as well. While Bertha Mason is full of uncontrollable passion and wild in nature, and almost she is described as not she but it. So with this small introduction about the title significance, let us move on to the discussion of the prose work. So the 19th century female writers carried a lot of rage and frustration about the misogynistic world. Misogynistic world stands for the world which hates females. So the writers wanted to survive in the world where female identities are neglected or almost hated. So they lived in and the predominantly male literary tradition where female has no role or limited role to play. So they tried to enter, and that this gender specific frustration influenced these writers to creative output. So they are writing under rage, they are writing under frustration that they have not been given the role to play or not recognized at all. Therefore, such rage was quite common at that time. According to Gilbert and Gubar, their rage was often shown through the figure of the madwoman. Therefore, most of the characters picture this attitude as possessing the qualities of madness. They conclude by urging female writers to break out of this patriarchal dichotomy and not to let themselves be limited by its imposition. Now, what we need to learn is that these two categorization, that is angel, that is submissive, and monster, that is uncontrollable, are the two patriarchal dichotomy, are the two patriarchal patterns. They have only occupied the world, and therefore women had been given a limited role to play. Therefore, they preferred either to be submissive or to be arrogant, either to be pure or to be impure. So these two words have almost confined the whole literary tradition of the female novelist. They could not come out of this dichotomy, that is monster and angel. So either the characters will be angelic or monstrous. So they are not ready to come out of these impositions. As I told you before, the title of the book is derived from Jane Eyre's Bertha Mason, who is locked away by her husband Mr. Rochester in the attic of Thornfield Hall, the place which is known as Thornfield Hall. She is an ominous character full of uncontrollable passion, violence, sensuality, madness, almost inhuman or cruel in her behavior. I would like to read a passage that I have taken from a source. It is a passage taken from the novel called Jane Eyre, which is written by Charlotte Bronte. In the deep shade at the farther end of the room, a figure ran backward and forwards. What it was, whether beast or human being, one could not at first sight tell. It growled, seemingly on all fours. It snatched and growled like some strange wild animal. But it was covered with clothing and a quantity of dark grizzled hair, wild as a man hid its head and face. So the description says, it is hard to describe whether it was a beast or human being. So one could come across the words such as beast, strange wild animal, and other terms that strongly connote signs her madness. So Bertha acts as a foil for Jane's pure, calm, and controlled nature. In fact, to say, Bertha is a double. Double in the sense one may have two characters, as we find in the novel called Jekyll and Hyde, where Jekyll is a decent, good-mannered character while Hyde is a somewhat monstrous, a cruel character. Therefore, every person may possess two characters. It's a character split. That can also be found in Jane as well. Some of Bertha's passions and rebelliousness may be found in Jane as well. Therefore, Charlotte Bronte might have pictured Bertha as a double to Jane instead of opposite to Jane. So both Bertha and Jane may be identified as a single character having two characteristic traits. So this kind of analysis is found in almost all the novels of the female writers. It's a revolutionary book that showed that literature written by women is not an inconsistency but a distinct female literary tradition is found in every literary work. So it created a new wave of appreciation. It has almost influenced all the upcoming literary works. Though it has been considered as a limited outlook on female writing, it nevertheless it is found as a foundational work, not only for feminism but also for all of literary theory. I have taken some of the points from Mary Clark's literary theory about this madwoman in the attic. And this madwoman in the attic examines the works of major 19th century women writers, including Jane Austen, Mary Shelley, Emily Bronte, Charlotte Bronte, George Eliot, and Emily Dickinson, as I told you before. And it is an intellectual example of feminist literary criticism. So it shows the way to conduct or a progressive way to celebrate the feminist literary criticism, because the dichotomy has been found very helpful to show that how male literary tradition has limited the scope of literary criticism, particularly feminist literary criticism. Only because of the male literary tradition that female writers have confined themselves to the two terms, namely angelic, monster. Women might have got other characteristics as well, instead of possessing only the monstrous or angelic qualities alone. But the male literary tradition has made the female writers not to go, or not to let them go beyond the boundaries. So it asserts the masculine imagery has completely dominated Western thinking about authors and text. Their feminist literary theory revolves around how the equation pen is equal to pennies. That is, male writers have the capacity to write, even to say writing is a sphere of male, not for female. Since Middle Ages, masculine dominance has been felt in the writing, which is the zone of male, not of female. So it is the question of not the worthy writing or valued criticism, but about writing itself. Whether women can write something valuable, worthy? No, it is not the question. Whether women can write? No, she is not in a position to write, and she does not have the creative ability to write. As the metaphor says, pen is equal to pennies. They argue that women bodies give birth to babies, which are mortal and limited. So women bodies give birth to babies which are mortal and limited, while men's bodies give birth to immortal things like books and art. So books and art are created by men. They are giving birth to books and art which are considered to be immortal, while babies are given by women which are considered to be mortal and limited. This is a wrong hypothesis. As male members have also got some contribution to the babies which are created by female. So male bodies with immortal birth is an assertion. It shows men's inability to know that they are the father of the children of their wives, or father of the children their wives have. So to deliberately exclude women writers from membership in their exclusive club by defining the one good writing as writing done by men. So if I say good writing, it is the writing done by men. And this is the writing, and the writing is good. No women writers' writing will be taken seriously and will be considered as good. So male sexuality. So here the whole essay focuses on the male sexuality. That's why I have told you that it focuses on the second wave feminism where sexuality is taken seriously. So male sexuality alone is the basis for acts of creativity. So creativity is the ground of male, not of female at all. So with these ideas, let me wind up the session or episode on Gilbert and Gilbert, the madwoman in the attic. Hope it will be useful for you to get ideas about what is the purpose of this prose work. It is purely to show that how male literary tradition dominates the literary mindscape. Then the second objective is to show how the difference between angel and monster work in the 19th century female characters, particularly with reference to the novel Jane Eyre, and to show the importance of feminist literary criticism in the 19th century. And it is the foundational work for anybody to refer and further progress. Therefore, it is considered to be the milestone in the feminist literary criticism. So with these notes, let me wind up the 6th episode in this series. Thank you so much.